Now it is 6:05 on Monday, 10/10/2022. This is information technology and trends. We're beginning week 3. So, and I'll go again since we had some other people hop in. Did anybody have any questions over anything last week that we want to clear up or work on before we move forward? And I don't see, I said, no one everybody's been kind of zooming through this. And with this one, you either done it or you can either do it or you don't. These assignments aren't real difficult, especially if you watch the videos, and then you can always ask questions. So far, I haven't been, inundated with so many questions that I feel like anybody's, not doing or not knowing what they're doing. So we are in week 3. Okay, so we have our discussion post due. If you guys aren't doing your discussions, I had somebody email me, it wasn't from this class, but from another class, and said, hey, how do I have a D in the class when I've been making B's on everything? Well, you haven't done any discussion. If you don't do them, it really kills your grade. So I can't say enough. And I know a lot of people don't like them. They try to avoid them. They're not that bad. And once you get into doing them, I think you'll be fine. So this is some more Excel, which I'm really glad of. Let's go ahead and kind of go through these videos, and then we'll look at the download file and see what we have to do for this week. And the other thing is make sure I am sharing my sound, because I always forget to do that. And here we go.
Goodwill Community Foundation, creating opportunities for a better life.
By default, when you create a new workbook in Excel, it contains one worksheet called Sheet 1. Sometimes that's all you need. But if you want, you can create additional worksheets and even customize them so you can store large amounts of data.
Okay, can you guys hear me now? Can anyone hear me?
I can hear.
Okay. Joy says she can gear me. Vroom vroom. Okay, let me try this video again. Maybe it was my headset was messing up. Let's try this.
Goodwill Community Foundation, creating
can we hear
opportunities
that?
for a better life.
Can we hear the video?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. I couldn't hear a daggum thing. I was freaking out.
By default, when you create a new workbook in Excel, it contains one worksheet called Sheet 1. Sometimes that's all you need. But if you want, you can create additional worksheets and even customize them so you can store large amounts of data in the same workbook. As you can see, I've already made some progress creating worksheets for each month in the year. I still need one final sheet for the month of December. To quickly insert a new sheet, just click the New Sheet button, always found to the far right of your tabs. Alternatively, you can copy one of your existing worksheets. This will create a new worksheet and duplicate the contents. Perfect for keeping track of my budget using the same table each month. All you have to do is right-click the worksheet you want, then choose Move or Copy from the menu. Next, check the box that says Create a Copy and identify where you want the worksheet to go. I want mine to go to the very end of the list. Click OK, and a copy will appear with the same name as the original plus a version number. Remember, this is the worksheet I needed for the month of December, so I'm going to rename it by right-clicking the tab, then choosing Rename. When you're done, click anywhere outside of the tab to deselect it, or press Enter on your keyboard. I'm also going to update the worksheet itself. Next, I'd like to review the rest of my worksheets and make sure everything is in order. It looks like some of them need to be moved. To do this, just drag and drop the worksheet tabs into place. You can even color code your worksheets to make them easier to reference. Just right-click the tab, then go to Tab Color. The color is less noticeable when the worksheet is selected. If you select another worksheet, you'll see the color the way it was intended. Finally, if you have a worksheet you don't need anymore, you can easily remove it from your workbook. All you have to do is right-click the tab, then choose Delete. Now it looks like we're all set. When you have multiple worksheets, you can work with each one individually, or you can edit several items at a time. This can be useful if you're working with lots of data that's closely related. Let's take a look. For example, I'm planning to move in the month of September. My rent is going to go up, and I'm canceling my gym membership too. That means I need to update not only this worksheet, but also the sheets for the rest of the year. We can edit them all at once just by grouping them. Start by selecting the first sheet you want to group, then press and hold Control on your keyboard while you select the rest. Release the Control key and you'll be able to navigate and make changes to the data, changes that will apply to all the worksheets in the group. For example, if I change the rent to $775 in one worksheet, the rest of the group gets updated too. The same rule applies if I clear the row that contains my gym membership. To ungroup, just right-click one of the worksheets, then click Ungroup Sheets. Alternatively, you can click any worksheet outside of the group. Just be careful not to do that by accident. Worksheets are a great option for storing lots of data in the same workbook, and with the ability to group them, you can easily add or edit data anytime, whether you have hundreds of worksheets or just a few.
I actually like those videos. They kind of keep them really simple and how to do this stuff. Now, once again, when we download the file, let's try this again. Oh, download the file. Okay, this is what we're looking at here. Hopefully it's downloading for me. There we go. It's down here now. And we open that thing up. We're going to see just exactly what they had us do here. Remember, now you're going to have to enable the editing. You can't go through there and do anything without it. So on this particular assignment, and watch it and follow the instructions, do just exactly what they did. So you can group them, go ahead and do that thing. This is not a difficult thing. Now, one of the cool things here too, and I don't always, if you have a new sheet. When I clicked on new sheet, there it is here. Now I can take this new sheet and I can grab things and a formula from other sheets. So I told you, you hit equals or the plus sign. I hit plus, and I can add up, go to January plus February, 5, and on, hit enter. And when I do, I mess it up. So try this one again without me looking like a jerk. Hey, so, or I even like it better. Let me go back to this sheet here. Plus, and then I can go to use a formula and sum, which means add things up. And then I can just go through here and start and separate them by a comma. Until I'm done. Close my parentheses. And when I hit enter, problem with the formula. Why is there a problem with the formula? For some reason I'm having issues. Okay, well, I don't know why it's giving me issues here. Not trying to type a formula. Equal minus sign. Must be something different in the cells here. So, and this is what we'll find. All right, so I should be able to bring that to my new sheet. Well, I'm trying to show you guys something, and for some reason I can't get it to work. Just let me. Okay, so we got that. Comma in, and do my second number. All right, so for some reason it's working like that. I don't know what I did wrong earlier. As you can see, we can just keep adding what we want to this. And what happens is when we automatically go to these, if we were to change this to 800, just out of the blue, you see it change that as well. So you don't have to go re-adding everything over and over and over again. I don't know how I messed that up last time, but we'll figure it out. So that was the first one. That one was pretty easy. Let's look at number 3.2 today. Using complex formulas and functions. And this is going to go a little more in depth into what we're going to talk about. And let me pull off the closed captioning because I think that was covering up certain things.
Goodwill Community Foundation, creating opportunities for a better life.
You may already have some experience creating simple formulas that have only one type of operation. But sometimes you have to create more complex formulas that do have more than one operator, for example, addition and multiplication. To do this correctly, you'll need to understand how Excel is calculating the answer. When solving formulas, Excel uses a set of rules called the order of operations, which you might remember from math class. The order of operations determines the order in which the formula will be calculated, so you know exactly how to write it out. The first thing that's calculated are any equations in parentheses. Then, if you have any exponents, you'll calculate those. Next is multiplication and division. and finally, addition and subtraction. Excel knows to use the order of operations whenever it calculates a complex formula. It's important that you remember it so you can create formulas that'll give you the correct answer. To remember the order, you can just use the acronym PEMDAS. Or to make it even easier, remember the phrase, "Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally." Let's take a closer look at some examples. In this formula, 5 plus 2 is in parentheses, so we'll calculate that first to get 7, and then we can just multiply 3 times 7 to get 21. This formula contains an exponent, 3 to the power of 2. We'll need to calculate that first, and then we can do the addition. If you have multiplication or division, that'll come next. Here we multiply 2 times 4 to get 8, and 9 minus 8 equals 1. Now multiplication and division are considered to be on the same level. That means if you have both of them in your formula, they're calculated from left to right. In this example, we'll do the division first, and then the multiplication. If we wanted the multiplication to happen first, we could just put it in parentheses, or we could rearrange the formula so the multiplication was on the left. Finally, we have addition and subtraction. Just like multiplication and division, these are on the same level, so we'll calculate them from left to right. Okay, now let's put them all together. This formula may look really complicated, but we're just going to go step by step through the order of operations, and you'll see that it's really not that bad. We'll start with the parentheses. We'll calculate each of these to get 2 and 3. And as you can see, the formula's already starting to look a bit simpler. Next, we'll look to see if there are any exponents in this formula. There is one, 2 to the second power. When we calculate it, it becomes 4. Next, we'll do the multiplication and division, going from left to right. And now all that's left is addition. And that gives us our answer, which is 8.75. And that's the same answer Excel would give you if you entered that formula in your worksheet. Now I'm going to show you why it's so important that you follow the order of operations every time. If you don't, your formulas won't give you the correct answer. In this example, I'd like to add these 3 values and find out how much the sales tax will be. I'll start by typing the equal sign, which is how you always start a formula. Then I'll calculate D3 plus D4 plus D5. Next, I'll multiply by 0.075, which is the tax rate at 7.5%. Now, this may look like it's going to give us the correct answer, but it's not. That's because we didn't follow the order of operations. Remember, multiplication comes before addition, so Excel is going to multiply D5 by 0.075 first. Then it'll add D3 and D4, which isn't what we want. We want these 3 values to be added first. So to do that, we just need to put them in parentheses. Parentheses are often the best way of controlling which parts of the formula are calculated first. And when this formula is calculated, we can see that the answer is $20.56. Writing complex formulas really isn't that difficult once you know how they work. Just remember to use the order of operations and you'll get the correct answer every time.
Y'all remember us talking about order of operations in business math? Hopefully we do. And that's, and it's going to have to, this is going to follow the same rules as order of operation or your order of operations here. So let's look at this one before we go through. And they didn't actually show you what would happen. Open. There we go. Come on. Okay, because what they did at the beginning where they were taking this plus this. Oh, see, I didn't hit enable editing, so it's not letting me do anything. So to figure the text, that plus that plus that times 0.075. And you got this big ugly number here, 126.47, which is not what we're looking for for the tax total. That's why with those parentheses in, that's what we get. And that's one of the things is, I think I say in business math, when you look at the answer, does it make sense? Which makes more sense, that the tax you're going to pay on, let's see here. Let's just figure out. And this, we're going to go ahead and use a formula or a function here, just because I can grab that and pull.
Go.
I mean, it's not gonna let me because I'm here. Escape out of here. I can use the sum function. Do this, and then I can grab this and pull it down and grab all three, close my parentheses. So we have a total of 274.10 at 7.5% tax. Which makes more sense? The $20.56 number, or the 126.47. Okay. So that's one of the things, you know, sometimes you just look at a problem and go, does my answer make sense? Here, I hopefully that doesn't. You're going, well, that seems like a whole lot of tax on just $274. I'm not sure, you know, where we're living, but I like it better like this. And they're going to show you here in a minute as well. Get rid of this. Could I have done? Now I hit so I hit my plus symbol or the equal sign. Tell me the next thing is a formula. There's also this auto sum up here, and it also gives you plenty of things: sum, average, count numbers, min, max. What we're going to worry about is the sum, and it automatically grabs those three, and then times 0.075. Oh, what did I mess up? Didn't put a multiplication sign over there. Times 0.075. There we go. We still get the same answer. So there's a number of ways to do this that we're going to see as we go through. I'm going to get out of here. Not going to save it. And then we're going to go to the next video.
Goodwill Community Foundation, creating opportunities for a better life.
Functions are a great time-saving option for calculating data in your worksheet. They can be used in place of formulas when a formula would be too long or just too complicated to write out manually. To access the function library, go to the Formulas tab on the ribbon. Here you'll find hundreds of functions to choose from. They've all been organized into categories to make them easier to find. For example, under Financial, you'll find functions that deal with things like interest and monthly payments. Under Text, you can perform text manipulations, like converting lowercase to uppercase, replacing text, and more. Date and Time includes functions that return the current date, time, day of the week, and other useful data. Some of the most common functions are pretty simple though, like sum and average. You can access these using the drop-down arrow under AutoSum. In this example, I'd like to add these 10 cells to calculate the total. If I tried to create a formula for that, I'd have to add each cell individually. Not only would that be tedious, it would also make the formula really long, especially if I had, say, 100 cells that I wanted to add. So instead of creating a formula, I'm going to use a function. First, select the cell where you want the answer to appear. Then choose a function. In our case, we'll open the AutoSum menu, and then choose Sum. Now Excel has inserted the function and also selected the cells that are being added together. If it selects the wrong cells, you can always change that by dragging the corner handles here. When you're done, press Enter on your keyboard, and the answer will appear. Let's look at this function in a little more detail. Just like formulas, functions always start with an equal sign. But you may have noticed that there are no mathematical operators, such as addition or subtraction, like you would normally see in a formula. Instead, functions use a specific syntax that includes the name of the function, followed by one or more arguments in parentheses. The arguments tell the function which cells or numbers to use when calculating the result. In this example, we only have one argument, even though there are two different cell references. This is called a range of cells, or a cell range. A cell range is represented by two different cell references with a colon in between. In this case, the range consists of all the cells between D3 and D12. If you want to use more than one argument, you'll need to separate each one with a comma. Let's try a different function now. In this example, we have a column for the date that each item was ordered and the date that it was received. What I'd like to know is how many business days it took for each item to be delivered. First, select the cell where you want the function to go. Then choose a function if you know what category it's in. If you don't, you can try searching for it instead. Just click the Insert Function command on the far left of the ribbon. Searching for functions can be tricky, but for more experienced users, this can be an extremely useful tool. Just type a description of the function you're looking for. I'm looking for something that'll count the number of days that have elapsed, so I'll type count days and then press Enter. We've gotten a lot of different results here. To learn more about a function, just click the name, and a description will appear below. The function called net workdays returns the number of workdays between two dates, and that's exactly what we want. So I'm just going to click OK, and another dialog box will appear. There will be separate fields for each argument in the function. This function has up to 3 arguments: start date, end date, and holidays. When you click a field, you'll see a description of it below. And if you need more help, you can click the link that says Help on this function. For the start date, I'm going to select cell E3. And for the end date, I'll select F3. We know the holidays argument is optional because it's not in bold, so I'm going to leave that one blank. Before you continue, you can check the result of the function here. When you're ready, click OK, and the function will be added to the worksheet. Just like with formulas, you can copy the function using the fill handle here. And now we can see the number of business days it took for each item to be delivered. If you've never used functions before, the syntax may seem a little strange at first. But with some practice, you're bound to get the hang of it, and soon you'll be using your favorite functions over and over.
Okay, that one wasn't too terrible, was it? So that is our second one. So let's go and look at exactly what they want us to do. Once again, hit enable editing. Okay. And this now on your functions as well, if you see where it says that f of x, that means function too. So you can go to your formulas and find it under date and time. And they were using what, the network days. You can go here Also go under date and time, and you'll see they're all in this drop down box. You also have a recently used. So if it's something you've used recently and you just want to get back to it, it's there as well. And once again, start date is here, end date is there. And like she pointed out, if it's not in bold, then that's not a required field, but something in bold is. We got our same 4 days, and we can drag it down. And we can do all that from the home page here as well. Like I said, if we notice formulas, there's the insert function. We have insert function here. And then we have the one auto sum. Tells us we had 38 days there. And then I also pointed out earlier too, that we could also, auto sum is one that, you sum stuff up all the time. You'll see how it circles everything with this dotted line. Now, if you don't want to do everything, I don't know why this is giving me such a hard time. Escape here, make this a little bit bigger. But now, here's the other thing. If you double click, you already have a formula here or a function, double click, it'll go ahead and give it to you and show you in blue. And I don't know why it won't let me have it. Let me have it up here. But if I want to leave some days out, I could leave those out as well, right? For whatever reason. But, and I was pointing out earlier, I hit this drop down button. If I want to know the average of all those, how many average days did everything spend in transit? Well, average of 3.8 days. So it goes ahead and makes that up for us too. So there's a lot of stuff you can do here and just go around and explore it. So anybody have any problems with the functions? Because the functions can get fairly complicated and you do have to go looking for them. Another thing I like to do here. Remember, this one highlights everything, and then I can double click in between here and make sure that everything is the right size. Also, I can grab all this stuff here, and from my home screen, you notice I can add or take away decimals. So there's just so many ways to do this. All right, so any questions, concerns, anything weird besides me? And besides Joyce? I don't know. I couldn't hear that, and that's probably a good thing. And remember how we uploaded everything last time. I know you guys have looked and the grades aren't in from last week. I will be heavy duty grading tomorrow. I did heavy duty grading in the other class this morning and ran out of time to get to your stuff. So I will, first thing in the morning, I will be doing heavy duty grading until 10. Then I have a meeting from 10 to 11 every Tuesday. And then after that, I will try to finish getting all the grading and the grades up. The good thing here is you can go back into these things and do whatever you need to do. If you're late on something and you go back to it, it should let me know, but it's always good to shoot me a message and say, hey, I went ahead and did 2, 3 because I had a chance to last week, and I'll go ahead and get it graded as soon as I can. Now, one of the things is, and I don't usually, I haven't been telling people this, but I guess I should explain more to classes, is if you turn in something late, you go to the bottom of the grading queue. So I am going to grade everything for that week for everybody. And then I will circle back around to the previous week or whenever and get that grading done. So if you're turning stuff late and you're like, well, why hasn't he graded it? It's just because you went to the bottom of the queue. And it's kind of one of those things. I'll get to it when I get to it, because I didn't turn it in late. And I know that sounds kind of mean and nasty, and it does, I don't mean it to, but it just kind of the way things work. And then so we've got one more, we've got plenty of time on week 3. We'll do some tables. Excel tables and charts. And this one is fun as well.
Goodwill Community Foundation, creating opportunities for a better life.
Tables are a great way to add more advanced formatting to your worksheets, like banded rows, preset color schemes, and other design elements that can save you tons of time. Let's take a look. To create a table, all you have to do is select the cells you want to include, then click the Format as Table command on the Home tab. Here you'll find several different styles to choose from. Just pick whichever one appeals to you the most. You can always choose a different table style later. If you want your table to have special formatting in the header row, make sure you leave this box checked. You can also change the selection if you need to. When you're ready, click OK. And now we have a table. Notice that every table includes filtering by default, which will let you sort your data or narrow it down depending on what you need. You can apply filtering anytime using the drop-down arrows here. If you need to fit more content into your table, not to worry. Excel gives you 2 ways to add more columns or rows in the same style as the rest of the table. Just enter your data in any adjacent column or row, and it'll be roped into the table automatically. You can also click, hold, and drag the bottom right corner to create any size table you need. This is looking pretty good. I think I'm ready to try some different formatting options now. For that, you'll find everything you need on the Design tab, which appears anytime you have your table selected. Remember how I said you could change your table style once you added one to your worksheet? You can do that here using the options in the Table Styles group. And this time you get a preview. This is one of the benefits of using tables in Excel. They make it easy to change the look and feel of your worksheet, and it's a lot faster than formatting the cells yourself. Why don't we go with this one? Next to the table styles, Excel gives you a few more options for customizing your table. For example, you could add special formatting to the last column to make it stand out, or you could add a total row. These will all look slightly different depending on the table style you've chosen, so you might need to experiment to get the look you want. If you change your mind, you can always remove the table from your workbook without losing any of your data. Just be aware that this can cause issues with cell formatting, so it should only be done if you truly intend to start over. All you have to do is make sure your table is selected, then click Convert to Range on the Design tab. Next, click Yes to confirm, and the range will no longer be a table. The Design tab has disappeared, but you can still adjust the formatting manually using the options on the Home tab. You can even use the Clear command to restart your formatting from scratch. Now you know how to add and remove tables in Excel.
I really do like her videos. They seem pretty awesome. Let's do the same thing here with charts.
Goodwill Community Foundation, creating opportunities for a better life.
When working with numerical data in Excel, sometimes a chart is just what you need to show the meaning behind the numbers. In this video, we're going to take a look at some of the different types of charts and also some ways that you can customize them to best represent your data. Column charts are good all-around charts. They work with many different types of data. whereas line charts are best for showing trends over time. Pie charts are unique because they let you see your data in proportion instead of on a graph. We also have the bar chart, which is basically just a column chart turned on its side. And finally, area charts, which are similar to line charts, except the areas under the lines are filled in. In this example, I have a table of sales figures for a bookstore. They're organized by genre and month, but it's hard to see any trends without looking at the numbers one by one. A chart would make things much easier. To create a chart, select your data, including any headers that you want to use. Then go to the Insert tab and look to the commands in the Charts group. For this data, I think I'll go with something in the column category. This one looks nice and simple. Now that is a lot clearer. I can see that romance has the strongest sales, with an all-time high in February. How do I know this column is from February? Well, below the chart, there's a type of key called a legend, and this tells us what each color represents. Right now, the columns are grouped by genre, but you might prefer to see them grouped by month instead. There's an easy way to make this change. Just make sure the chart is selected, then click Switch Row Column on the Design tab. See how the chart has been rearranged? Basically, it's the same data, but the months and genres have switched places. You can always experiment with this to see which option is going to work best for your data. If you want to try a different chart altogether, click the Change Chart Type command on the far right of the tab. Then, pick something else from the dialog box. I think I'll go with a line chart this time. Line charts work well for data like this. For example, we can see right away that mystery novels are starting to catch up with romance. But sci-fi and fantasy sales have stayed consistently low. If you want, you can change the chart style to give your chart a different look and feel. As you can see, you have several different options to choose from. You can also change the chart layout itself. Just go to the Quick Layout command and make a selection from the menu. Not all of these options will work well for the data in your chart. Just keep going until you find something you like. Let's go with something a little bit like this. You can make further adjustments using the Add Chart Element command, or the Chart Elements shortcut. Just look for the button with the plus sign. Here, you can add or remove elements from your chart depending on your preferences. Or you can click the arrow to the right to access even more options. To edit one of your chart elements, like the chart title in this example, all you have to do is select the placeholder, then replace the text. Finally, whenever you insert a chart, it appears on the same sheet as the source data by default. If you want, you can move it to a different worksheet by following these steps. First, make sure your chart is selected, then click the Move Chart command. Next, select the sheet where you want the chart to go. In this example, we'll choose New Sheet. When you're ready, click OK. And now the chart appears in whatever location you chose. Charts are a great tool for presenting numerical data and also enhancing your worksheets in Excel. With so many options to choose from, you can achieve exactly the result you want.
So any question on tables and charts? Did that seem pretty straightforward to you guys? The Joyce is like, yeah, okay. And Diamond's cool. All right. So one of the things I like to point out as well, which is you can use Excel to do your tables and charts. And once you get them where you want, you can copy those over and put them in a Word document or even in a PowerPoint presentation. So I do a lot of work in Excel, and then I'll let Excel do all the math, do all the charting, do all the heavy lifting, and then I'll put that over. If I'm doing like a Word document where we're going to print it out and hand it out, we need charts and tables, I'll do that. Or if I'm going to do a PowerPoint presentation, I'll copy all that over to there. So it makes life a whole lot easier. It's about 10 minutes till. Does anybody have any questions or comments on this? Joyce is good. Victor, how you doing?
I'm doing okay.
Doing okay? Taylor's good. Diamond, you good? No questions? Okay. If you come up against anything this week that's, kind of blows your mind, let me know. Belinda, Dominique, Stacy. Stacy knows where to find me anyway. Let me know and we can work on it. And don't forget, one of the best tools you have at your disposal on this is that undo key, that undo symbol. Remember that one? That's one of the best tools at your disposal. And many times, if I'm going to have a spreadsheet that I'm working with, a tab I'm working with, many times I will copy that tab over and have two tabs and have an original just kind of sitting in the background, and then have one make my adjustments to. So if I really just get dumb and screw it up, then I know I can always have that original handy. And you can always download the originals as well. But that gives me something to look back on, because there are times where it just gets real confusing. So otherwise, I'm going to call it good tonight. I think we've beat this Excel horse up as much as we can. Don't forget, though, done on week 3 here. Okay, don't forget, right here. Let me go to modules so I can actually. Okay. Don't forget, we have our discussion. And if you're not happy with your grade, many times it's because you just haven't done discussions. Now, Victor, he's all over it. He doesn't mess around.
I thought it was a pretty fun discussion.
What's that?
I thought it was a pretty fun thing to write about.
Oh yeah, I mean, so and sometimes it is, and sometimes it's not. You just gotta be happy with the good ones and muscle through the bad ones. How's Stacy doing? Is Stacy all right too? Haven't seen her. Well, I wouldn't go that far, Stacy. Just calm down. But all right. Well, if you have any questions, I'm always available. Let me know. Otherwise, I am going to stop the share, and I am going to stop the recording, which actually puts us at the official end of class.